Well, thank you very much for taking a seat. When I was asked to speak tonight about Our Lady Providence High School, my first thought was, how in the world can anyone capsule what OLP means in a few moments? What is closest to our hearts often is hardest for any one of us to verbalize. Our Lady Providence High School, what it has been and what it has meant is evident in the presence of all of you tonight. I know they put this memorial table over here. That's nothing. I think the memorial and the trophies of OLP found in every one of our tables here. The origin of Our Lady of Providence High School Seminary stretches back not to 1968, but really goes back 70 years, to 1941. But tonight we will dwell on OLP from 1968 to 1989. It was November 12th, 1968, when OLP opened its doors for the very first time on Regent Avenue.
Okay.
Little did we know then what the impact of that move would have in the lives of every one of us here tonight. It was the start of the second quarter of the academic year. For the first quarter of that year, as some of you know so well, we were still in Warwick Neck. And we did not, at that time, move into a shining, new, state-of-the-art building. We're still looking for that. Rather, the place we now call home had served for many long years, for 71 years, as a matter of fact, as an orphanage. It was opened in 1897, and its original purpose of those buildings was to provide shelter, love, and hope for disadvantaged infants. And by the time that we arrived, that original purpose had been fulfilled. So many of those infants had left that institution later years in life, when life had prepared them for life's exigencies and gave them new securities outside its walls. The mission of OLP would be to open its doors and not to welcome infants, but welcome those of you who had already journeyed for a while through life, to welcome each one of you and to respect your uniqueness and to challenge you to develop your God-given gifts through classroom and through extracurricular activities. And I think that challenge was met, and the program was more than successful. For most of those ensuing years, our beloved Monsignor Newbold was at the helm as our principal. With great affection, I'm sure all of us remember well his daily announcements on the PA. We remember him telling us when the early bus would be late, when the late bus wasn't coming, and everything in between. They tell us that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if anybody here is shaking his keys of we know that we all did admire him in his own unique way. The uniqueness of Our Lady of Providence High School came in the makeup of the faculty and the student body. Our student population was always small, but you know, that provided us with an overall advantage. Because before a few weeks was out, before a few months were over, everybody knew one another and everybody supported each other. The faculty was staffed by diocesan priests, religious sisters. Sister Carol Ann here with us tonight was certainly an inspiration. You know, I was sitting with Sister Carol Ann at the end of one of the academic years, and she was in the lounge, the faculty lounge, and she was tearing up her notes. I said, Carol Ann, why are you doing that? She said, I do this every year. She says, I start off the year fresh with my students. That's a teacher. That's one who has committed herself to the vocation, to the commitment of who she is, and I think the results speak for themselves. You know, at one point, there were as many as 14 diocesan priests on the faculty. Isn't that hard to believe in this age and in this time? That was part of your privilege to have all of us as your I taken myself into a corner, but anyway. But having diocesan priests as a faculty member really was an advantage too, because it helped to make the transition from education to lived experience in the parishes a reality. You know, the priest that served you in your parishes wasn't just the person behind the altar or on the podium on a Sunday morning. He was somebody that you knew to be somebody real with all the quirks that come with it. One of the great comforts to so many of us priests who served on the faculty for many years came later on, when former students showed their faith commitment by active involvement in parish community. And I believe that's the beauty of what we had in Our Lady of Providence, because our work was not just giving you an education, it was a work of formation. And I have seen that in your presence tonight, to see what you have become, and what a great gift back to all of us that is. At the very center of our new facility on Regent Avenue was the chapel. And it was like a heart-feeding lifeblood to every classroom, because the classrooms were on the ends of the corridors. And Mass was offered each morning, or each day at midday in the chapel. And a priest, still with chalk on his fingers, came in to celebrate the Mass with students who valued the gift of the Holy Eucharist. And over the years, we were justly proud of our students and our graduates. You have achieved well in every area of human endeavor. In church, government, business, law, labor, in the professions of teaching and medicine, to name but a few. Among our graduates from Our Lady Providence High School, going back to the beginning, are 5 bishops. More than 90 diocesan priests can claim to have attended Our Lady Providence High School. We have among our alumni a former United States Congressman, John O'Leary, who was the mayor of one of our large cities. We've had a state treasurer. We've had doctors, attorneys, leaders in education, in all the various fields of endeavor. If the purpose of an educational institution is to prepare one for life, then I believe that Our Lady of Providence High School has a measuring stick to know that our goal has been amply achieved. All of you, without exception, made sacrifices to be with us here tonight. You did so because you know that it is important to reconnect with OLP, which was and is such a very important part of your lives, as it is for each one of us, who we're privileged to be on the faculty. If we come across a teacher who significantly influences our lives, we have found a priceless treasure. What a good teacher gives is roots and wings, lessons that shape us for a lifetime. Some years ago, I reconnected with a sister of mercy who taught me in the 9th grade. Her name was Sister Leontine Mulvena. Each day, when she was teaching school at Tyler School, which was the Cathedral Parish School, she and the other sisters who taught there walked 2 by 2, rain or sunshine, carrying their book bags from St. Xavier's Convent through a rundown Haywood Park to get to the school. Haywood Park was a place where it was a haven for the city's homeless and for drunks. And I asked her if these guys ever bothered her when she and the others walked through that park. And she recalled for me one incident. She said there was a homeless drunk who staggered to his feet as she came along. And he straightened himself up as best he could. And he said to her, "Sister, you have made me what I am today." Well, tonight, I am delighted that we're meeting here and not in Haywood Park. Years ago, when cigarette commercials were still allowed on the airways, I remember there was a catching one for Salem cigarettes that remained in my mind for a long time. And that Salem commercial went like this: "You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem." I want tonight to rephrase that saying: you can close the doors of OLP, but you can never take OLP out of the student and anyone connected to that school. Thank you. God bless you.